Alrighty, guys. We are back. We are back. Very cool seeing YouTube, Twitch.
So, I know we've been coming here for a while to work on our communication issues. Exactly. But things have really changed.
Do you want to see your streams? All we need to do is go have that. Very sorry. Just hold the at an effect filter and the luma minimum slider. You're actually also taking away the blacks. So if you have a black on your icon, it will also be keyed out. Yeah, there's nothing we can do though. So it's making my head dizzy. But browser source, all we need to do is go to the URL area. Remember the URL, the link that I asked you to copy? Well, here, and that's it. That I ask you to copy. Well, we just need to paste it here, and that's it. That's it. Well, actually, we can still fiddle with the width and the height. For now, we're just gonna go with 800.
Yeah, right now our video has a little chat pop up that comes from Kick, but we need to integrate Twitch and YouTube as well. Would be nice. It's also very cool. Got YouTube. Kick and Twitch all streaming from the same source. It's pretty cool. Twitch often looks like we're not streaming to it though. I don't know. Maybe there's just a delay. I don't know if maybe our Twitch stream just is not streaming. Push me deeper in the river and drown me. The pot me. Let's see if we got some error logs. Doesn't look like we have any errors. We haven't had any errors since midnight, which was yesterday when we were working on this. Wonder why. Okay, it's just. Wonder why. Oh, it is synced. Okay. Cool. Just like pretty delayed, but not very good bit rate. Is there a way to check? Kick. Yeah, we'll just do let's get some background music going. Cool. And I close out all the chats because I want to. Let's see, we were working on so let's see if we can undo chunk stuff that we had. I need to run our server. I also need to make sure I actually have this thing running. We're gonna need our console. So right now we have this. Let's go to our map. We've got not in the map. In our chunker, where we've got for now, this is our dot. We've got something working pretty nicely, but I don't want it to do that. I want sections to collapse based on the distance. So let's see if we can go in. Do our hex tree. Let's make this a little bigger. I mean, this is kind of nice. It's cool and all. But I want a clean radius. So, let's see if we can go into our hex tree. Right now, while Z is not at the end, while X is not at the end, and this is some really clean code to get rid of. Alright, so we delete this. Let's just comment it out rather. Then filter is not defined. Gotta comment out basically everything. So this is our grid when we start. If we make this thing 400, then what do we get? Ah, we get something that doesn't fit. So our algorithm has this weird offset where it needs specific size. Things break. Let's fix that first. Let's also go in here, remove the subdivisions. There's something about our max chunk size that's not calculating properly. Alright, so we're gonna get rid of this too, as much as I hate to delete it all. And we won't have a grid. Now I gotta remember what the heck we did actually. Alright. Let's go find our hex node. We initialize the hex node, we start at 0. The end should be the config max chunk count.
The #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Getting a fresh deal at Subway has never been easier. Just buy any footlong in the app, get another free.
It's actually 0 subdivisions, and then start and end. Okay, start would be 0, 2. So we start with 0 subdivisions. To do, remove this and replace with caching. So the layer is the subdivision count, which would be the max chunk count. And then our offset max chunk offset. And this is the actual offset size. So what I think I want to do is move these here. I actually need to move them here. Can't think of a good way to do this. Because I want them to default to the layer. I want to be able to override them. For now, we'll leave them here. We might create another function. Might be what we do. But I want to first say I need to take a break actually because I've got a couple different things in my head that I want it to do. Unless we say this dot subdivide grid and we say start end offset size chunk size and then chunk count. And then we'll create a subdivide grid that takes all of these things. And we'll say let start x start z, let index let end z. Wow. Start x is less than index. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. I don't like that at all, but we are gonna put this. Do we need it inside the function? We have it here. Yeah. Import chunk from chunk. Chunk count is not defined. Of course, because it's just count. These all need to be prototypes, but that's fine.
I've had the free version of Grammarly, but upgrading to Grammarly Premium has been a game changer in my everyday work.
We'll move all of these out of here actually.
Your writing feels personalized.
By using prototypes, it like if you can see this, it gets rid of the
Organize your script using their premium feature. Actions to input GIFs or easily link Google Drive links to help.
Gets rid of the size of the object. So like we've got this calculate subdivision function and subdivide grid function. If we move those here, we say prototype, get rid of the syntax, do the same thing here, get rid of the syntax, then return not in function line 59. Return not in function. Oh, we've got to say equals function. That's right. It's declarative programming. Now our HexTree object only has these parameters. It's got a prototype, but it doesn't copy all of these to every instance. It only copies these values. So you can see here we end at 74. We are at 3737. This is where we are on the grid. In terms of chunks, I think. Yeah, that should be our chunk position that we're in. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, we're dividing by the chunk size. Our chunk size is our square size times 5. Our chunk should be uniform. Our chunk is 30 squares. That seems about right. Or rather, it's 5 squares. And then squared. Well, whatever. Okay. So single chunk is 10 squares because it's 5 both ways. Because it's a square. Let's see if we subdivide the grid. What happens if we say this chunks? Nothing? It doesn't create any chunks. That's some useless output right there.
Okay.
So let's start and end. Let's say start, end. Start and end are undefined because we are giving it numbers. So what we do is we say if we have start x, then we use start x. Otherwise, we just use start. Say start.x. Otherwise, we just use start. And the same thing. If end doesn't have an x, then we just use end. There we go. Look at that. Now we got a square. So end minus offset. Did offset size? Nope. Let's just keep going for now. So we add one chunk. Because we into 74. Offset 2. Okay, that's pretty close. Minus the offset. I'm pretty sure we did have to do that. Is it really the offset size?
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings.
So position.
Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on your favorites with the buy 5 or more, save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more.
Calculate the position plus the offset. And then the size is minus the offset size. That's close. Not exactly right, but it's close. So our offset size might be wrong in the config. This logic doesn't look right. If we have a number like 30, but our max chunk size is like 20, we'll have an offset of 10. If we have a number like 50, our max chunk is 20, we'll still have an offset of like 10. And that would give us 3. This hurts my head because we need to be able to subdivide this map. Like, we're going over the limit for some reason. So 370 times 6, because that's our square size. So let's just forget that though. Chunk count. The chunk, oh, I see what we're doing. The chunk count is the map size divided by the size of the chunks. So we could be encountering problems because of math.ceiling here. Yeah, there we go. That straightened it up. This still isn't right, because if we have 71 chunks, maybe that is right. If we have a map of like 700, okay, I see. Yeah, we're having problems because the map chunk is so big. If we make this chunk size a lot smaller. What if we cut these down? We say minimum chunk count has 1 chunk in each chunk. Maximum chunk is 3. This one's 9 and this one's 27. Because we want them to be divisions of 3. So if we say this is 2, we could say this is 6. This would be 18, and then 24 plus 30 is 54. Then that gives us a relatively decent sized chunk. We can try to like scale this back down. Yeah, okay. So before I integrate the offset rules, I want to integrate the subdivision rule. But where it gets confusing is this is our subdivision rule. So this creates a chunk. So let's just be really crude about this for now. And say let chunk equal this chunk's 0. And then this dot subdivide grid. We'll try the chunk start. So chunk has a size. Chunk dot size. Chunk also has a layer. Do we give it a layer? We do need to give it a layer. So that would be this dot layer. And then we just pass it the layer, because here we will say chunk dot layer plus 1. That way we can say oh, we don't need this layer because we're just pulling it from here. Say let offset, let chunk size, and let count. Excuse me. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to try to say actually we're already getting okay. No, we're not going to get that like weird offset. We only need those offsets if we're at the edge of the map. That's what those offsets are for. So we'll have to calculate that separately. That's why we're not looking at it right now. What we are going to do is say offset equals chunk size divided by 3. Offset size equals oh, wait. So we can get the layer. And we can say offset. Okay. Offset equals sizes chunk dot layer let layer equal chunk let chunk layer equal chunk layer plus 1. This is the new chunk layer. Let's be explicit so we don't get confused, because naming is important. Offset size counts sizes we actually need to say size count and then offset size equals sizes divided by 3, because we're gonna subdivide this thing. Chunk size. I need to say chunk count, because count is confusing. Count What is size? Oh, that's the actual size. And then the offset size is the chunk size. And then the offset. Fuck. Offset count. Offset count equals chunk count divided by 3. We will use the chunk count momentarily. Oh, actually, it's supposed to be here. What error did we get? Offset is not defined. Where's offset? Oh. I don't even know what we're using that for. Really, these values can be stored inside the chunk, though. Gotta be offset count. Alright, so we've got another square. That's something. It's not what we want, but it's something. Okay, it's because we are doing the start x plus the offset count. What are these errors? Not a number. So here, start x and end x should be. Oh, we've actually got 6 chunks. Well, I mean, it should have actually created the chunk count. I think we should see these subdivided chunks, though. What did our old code do? Because the old code technically worked. Offset chunk. Need to have the chunk count before the chunk size. Excuse me. So this is not going to be right. This needs to be x equals start x, z equals start z. This needs to be x equals end x, end z. That created 2 chunks instead of 6 for some reason. Oh, because we're using the start x instead of the end minus the offset. Interesting that this one's just an object, but this one has all these parameters. Those are the same. This chunk doesn't have
Thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire
anything.
mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600.
Excuse me.
$1 off per gallon at the pump, so you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on your favorites with the buy 5 or more, save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each.
I actually think I'm too tired for this at the moment, to be honest with you guys. I think I'm gonna have to call it a night. Be early night, but I gotta call it. I just don't have the mental capacity right now. I've been working too much. But I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Appreciate all the support. This isn't right either. We need to be checking if we are less than the offset. We also need to be checking how far we are away from the camera, because the goal is to subdivide this into thirds. We also need to implement 2 levels of radius, so yeah, we gotta think about how to do this. It's gonna be tricky. I'm trying to do 1 step at a time, so anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all